Kakadosh Boker Or Batra Daf Yomi Daf Gimel Amud Aleph. We're starting a new perek. This perek Hamishi, the 5th chapter. It says over here like this: Amocheret asfina. If you're going to sell the boat, asfina macharet etorim v'tanes v'ta ogin v'et kol hamanigin ota. So you're going to sell also all the different parts of the boat. Usually that's I don't know how you say it in English. It's like the pole. The what is it called? Mast. The mast. We're talking about the nest, which is going. Can you please close the door, Jackie? Close the door. The what? The sail. The sails. The sail. And S-A-I-L. Yeah, and the anchor. And the anchor. And kol maniginota, and also all the different people that are going to be directing the boat as well. Avalo machar, but you're not going to come and you're not going to sell. Lo et avadim, not the avadim which are on. That means that they come and they watch all the things on it. Velo et amarzufin, or not the big bags which go on the boat for the different. How do you call this? For the like for the purchases and all those things they used to like transport. So they used to use these things. So he says velo et anatiki. And not the schora itself. But if he says the boat and everything which is on top of it, so this is the perek of hamocheret sfina. Okay, selling the boat. Fine. Says the Gemara toren. What exactly is the toren? Iskaria. This is the mast. What does that mean exactly? This is the pole which goes up, which that's what they come and they put the sails onto that. Okay, so it's yes. Yeah. Okay. Okay. And that's what the pasuk says. Eretz mi Lebanon lakachu lasot toren alayv. So this is the one what it is. Remember, in the olden days, nowadays you don't even see it. Usually in the big, huge boats, you don't even see this thing. But it used to be a big pole, and there was the sails, right? It was on it, and that's what they used to. They want to direct it. They would direct the mast. They would direct it, and then that would show them the direction. Okay. So he says over here, nest. What is nest? Adara. So this is the sail. That's what it says. Shesh berikma mitzay maya mifrasech right liot lach lenes, and it's going to be as a nes. Now, obviously, here the word nes is not referring to a miracle. The nes is actually referring to the entire concept of showing you where you're going. So he comes and it says ogin, the anchor. Tani ruchia elu oginin shela. These are the agonim that they throw it into the sea. Right, which is the anchor. That's what it says. Halaen what does that mean? Te'agena, right? And that's the ogen, right? It's like an aguna. What is a woman that she's an aguna? A woman aguna means that she cannot do anything. She stops. She can't move, right? She can't get married, right? She can't do anything. You know what an aguna is? Aguna is a woman that the husband did not give her a get and he abandoned her. So now what happens? Go get a get. You can't get a get. Well, the husband's still alive. So she can't do anything. So that's called an aguna. So that comes from the word of te'agena, which is the ogen, which is the how do you call it again? The anchor, right? That you throw it into the marigin. When we're talking about marigin, Amar Rabbi Abba says Rabbi Abba, elu amoshitin shela. These are the moshitin. Mechenu omen. That's what it says. Alolim bashar asum ishotayich. Right? What does that mean exactly? The pasuk is talking about the different chalakim, which are going to be the main parts of the boat. If you want, you could say for another pasuk me'acha, mashot. Right? So therefore here you see that the ofen ikari of going is through the mashotim, meaning that these mashotim, right, are the ones which are directing the boat. Okay? These are the sails and everything that they're going to come and they're going to direct the boat with the mashot. Fine. Okay. So now he comes and he says, right, like this. These how does it translate it there? These are the I forgot how they're called. You know, like in the canoe boats, they have the paddles. That's what he calls it. Manigin. Okay. So now the Gemara says, we learned to the Braita, if you sell the sfina, you sell the kevesh as well. The kevesh is basically the ramp which goes up to the ship. Or also the boramayim which they go into it, which basically they put in the water, right, for drinking waters, right, into it. Rabbi Natan says, you also sell a small little tiny boats beside it. You know that every single ship usually has a little tiny boat. Obviously, we're talking about the big one because it's a small one. They're gonna have another small one beside it, right? But the big boats, they have small ones beside it, right? That was the entire concept, by the way, with the Titanic, Titanic, the biggest problem is that there weren't enough lifeboats and life jackets to save everybody else. That's number one, to save the entire ship. Number two, also, half of them went out half empty. So therefore, the fact that it went out empty, so it was a big problem, because that means it was a problem. They didn't even fill up the boat, even the small amount of boats that they have, they didn't fill up to the full capacity. And that's why there was so many people, and that's why there was so many tragedies as well. So he says, Sumchus comes and he says, if you sell the sfina, you're also going to sell the dugit. What is the dugit? The bitzit. So it's going to be the same thing, which is basically, again, the small boats beside it. Amar Rava comes and he says bitzit, right? The binatan bavla, right? I know dugit. Selam emshos, b'diuk oto davar. Right? The binatan bavla, have a karele butzit, right? He used to call it not bitzit, he used to call it butzit. Right? Just like people say, butziata de meashan. What does that mean? These are talking about the small beitziot of the Nehar Meshan. So therefore, that's why it's coming from the word, instead of bitzit, he called it butzit. The sumchus, right? He used to say, right? Sumchus, he said, karole dugit, meaning we said beforehand it was called dugit. Why? As it says in the pasuk, ve'acharitchen besirot duga. So again, from the fact that it's written in the pasuk, right, such a language. So therefore, he comes and he says, right, this is the language that's bringing down that was called a duga. Amar Rabbi comes and he says, Nechuta Yoma. So the people that came down, right, they come and they say the following. This is the Nechuta Yoma. Hai Gala de Mitaba Svina. When you have the Gal, right, meaning you have these waves that want to come and they want to take down the entire ship. It looks as if that there's a tzitzit of fire, right, of a white fire at the head, right? Right? And then we're going to come and we're going to hit with the alot. What does that mean here? It says here, this is the shevet. So this is like what I told you before, the paddles. Okay? So he comes and he says, right, the chakuk aleh, because it's going to be, that's hidden, that's on the top of it, the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Eyeh Asher Eyeh. This is the name, right, which is going to be written on it. Okay? So he comes and he says, and then it says, Ka Hashem Tzevakot, Amen, Amen, Selah, Venayich. So therefore, on the how do you call this thing? You're going to have the three different names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? Because basically, Eyeh Asher Eyeh is the Avtacha that he's going to take them out of Mitzrayim. And that's why it's a double language, right? Of Pakod Yifkod Etchem. So same thing, Eyeh Asher Eyeh, that is going to be. Now what happens is that, right, it's going to be written, the different names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So you have Eyeh, you have Ka, and then you have Hashem Tzevakot. Okay, so you have the different names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Chakuk. No, it's going to be chakuk on the staff that you're hitting the waves with, right? You're going to have it. Remember that we just learned actually Bikim Balacha. We just actually learned that these are the names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that are not erased. Remember that. Okay, Ka is not erased. Hashem Tzevakot is not erased. These are different names. There are 7 names that are not erased. So it says Amen, Amen, Selah, V'nayich. And then what's going to happen is by hitting, right, it's going to calm down. Now the truth is though that I'm not going to do it now, but pay attention in the art scroll. The Gaon Mivilna, he many times he explains the Sipurim of the Shas, meaning what is this story? Like what's going on now? Coming by the way, they came and they told me, for the ones that they came down to the thing, they came and they told me a story. This is what happened. The Gaon explains the entire story. So look over there for the entire story of what it is. Second story. Now again, remember that the Gaon is going to explain all the different stories. Okay, so he says over here as follows. Right? Amar Rabba comes and he says, Ishtauli nichute yama. Right? Again, the people of the Yordea Yam, they came and they told me, Ben gala le gala tlat me'aparsa. The distance between one gal and another gal, meaning one wave is another wave, is going to be 300 parsaot. Right? Now remember, obviously something doesn't make sense because here it actually says it's like 2.5 kilometers, right? Which doesn't make sense. Remember that every single parsa is 4 mil, and every mil is almost a kilometer. It's like 960 meters. It's mamash. It's right under a kilometer, or according to the Chazon Ish, it's right over a kilometer. So therefore, obviously, we're talking about, it doesn't make sense a lot. But again, obviously, these are the sipurim, the stories, and the way that they're going to be explained by the Gaon Vilna. The Ruma de Gala, now the height of the Gal is also three parsaot. So imagine the height of this, it sounds like a tsunami. Yeah, it's mamash. The height of this thing is going to be also 300 parsaot. Zimna Chada, it once happened, Havazinam be'orcha, that we were going on the path, Udlinan gala, right? And it went up. Ad the chazinan, we were able to say bemarbate, right? The kochva zuta, until we saw this a small little tiny star, right? So mamash, we were able to see the star, right? Because how high the water went. And it was appeared to me, right? Bizra de chardala. It looked like that you're able to plant 40 different midot of the mustard seeds. Vidalin and tfe. Now, if it would have gone higher, have a meklina mevle, right? We would have been mamash. It would have been burnt from the chom of the kochav, meaning the heat of the star would have burnt it. Verami le gala kalach lechaverta. And we heard one gal telling its friend, meaning the galim are talking to each other, right? So that means basically one of them, one of the waves, is talking to its friend, and it says, "Chaverti, shavat mi de be'alma de lo shatafte." Did you leave anything in the world that you didn't, pass over and flood? Denete ana unabde, that I'm going to come and I'm going to destroy. Amra la, so she said, "Puk chazi gevurta de marech." Go look the gevura of Hakadosh Baruch Hu, right? That He doesn't give us the reshut. Melochuta chala velo avre. That we have a little bit of chol on Sfat Yam. We've got the sand on the beach, right? And we cannot even pass by it. Meaning, no matter how tall we go, we're not going to pass by. Shneimar says in pasuk, "Haoti lo tirau neum Hashem." You're not going to fear me, and says Hashem. Imi panayu tachilu. If you're not going to be afraid, Hashesamti chol gvul yam, that I'm going to place the sand, right? That the sand is the gvul for the yam. Remember that the sand is actual gvul. That's the borders of the sea. Chok olam velo yavrenu. Right? That what? It's a chok, and it's not going to pass by. So therefore, obviously, you see that this is the chok that HaKadosh Baruch Hu did. Third story, right? Again, each one of these stories, Lina, maybe another time we could actually go through the actual stories with the Gaon, because it's beautiful stuff here. Amar Rabba comes and he says, Ledidi Chazili, right? I actually saw Hurmin Bar Lilit. So I saw Hurmin Bar Lilit. Okay, there's a whole thing. Is it Hurmiz or Hurmin, right? And he comes and he says as follows. And he says, when he was running, okay, on the walls of the city of Mechuza, so basically, he was riding on an animal, right, lefitumo, innocently, okay, by the velo yachile. He wasn't able to catch up to him, okay. So basically, what happened is that he saw this Hurmiz, right, Bar Lilit. This is actually a female. Well, we know the famous Li, right? Exactly. This is the female Sheda. Okay, so basically, some people say that this is the mother of the Shedim, right? That's why this is the wife of Samech Mem, or whatever it is. That's why refers to her, but whatever. But this is now the Urmim Bar Lilit. So this is basically, right? This is the son of the Lilit, and basically, what's happening is that Mamash, you couldn't catch up to him. Zimna Chada, it once happened. Right, there were two pradot, right? They were basically on his, right? That they were by Hurmin, by his ukaf, the kayamin, and they were standing, right? In Gimel Mubet 73b. Atre gishre de rogag. So he says on two different gisharim, which were far away from each other, right? So imagine he's basically on the two different animals, and they're on two different bridges. Ushvar mehai lehai, umehai lehai. Now he was jumping from one to another. Meaning, one more time, you have two bridges. Here, it's very difficult to see that. Let's just pretend you have the bridge of 163rd and the bridge of Aventura, right? So you've got the Lehman Causeway. So you've got both of them are coming up, but there's a very big distance between them, right? One is 163rd and one is 185, whatever it is. You understand? There's a very big distance between them. He's got the two different ones on them, and he's jumping from one to another. Yeah, jumping from one to another. So he comes and he says, "Venakit tre mizge de chamra bide." So he had two cups full of wine in his hands. Umorik and he's juggling. Yeah, he's juggling from one to another, one to another. Velonat fanitofta le'ara, and not even one drop fell on the land. Ve'oto hayom, and on that day, ya'alu shamayim yeredu tehomot. Right, what does that mean? It was very, very, with a torment. It was stormy, right? Until the Yordei Yam, right? We're going to come up to the Shamayim. It was Ad Shamu Bemalchuta, until it was heard, right? Is the Katlu, and they killed him. How do you kill a demon? How do you, again, This is also Biur Sipur Shlishi. Again, you're going to have, right, a, how do you call this? An explanation also of this story. Fourth story. Amar Rabba. Rabba comes and he says, Didi Chazile Urizla Bar Yomeh. I saw Ra'am ben Yomo. Okay, Ra'am here is a chaya, which is mentioned a few different times. It's also called the Dishon in the Torah. Okay, it's called the Rema. I don't know how you say it in English. He says it's a very big animal, right? That we don't actually know what it is. The Radak says it's like it only has the one horn. So maybe this is where the unicorn came from. Okay, but the Tosfot says that it can't be because maybe it could be a buffalo, right? The buffalo. Fine, but whatever the case is. So he says over here, Dava Kahar Tavor, that he was like a mountain of Tavor. The Har Tavor, how much is Har Tavor? Arba Pasaot. So look how great it is. So just a tzavar was going to 3 parsaot. Right? Ube marbata, right? The reishe parsa upalga. Now the godel of the place is going to be a parsa v'chetzi. Rama kufta uschar liyardana. So they come and they put the galal in the Yarden, and he basically stopped it. The Amar Rabba Baruchana. So says now this is now the 5th story. So again, each story is a world in itself. Don't think that we understood the story. You understand? There's a lot. Agadot Shas, right, is something very, very, very deep because there's a lot of how to explain each story. So it's not just stam. You understand? We're now just doing it, as they say, we're doing it superficially, but really, be'emet, we're going to try to go through it. The Amar Rabbi Mechana says Rabbi Mechana, Didi Chazeliyahu akrukta davya ki akra de ugrania. So he says, I myself saw a tzfardea, right, a frog, which was basically like this, like the city of Accra in Agrania, in Hungary. Accra, so how big was it? Shishim bate, 60 houses. So I don't care how small these houses are, right? You show me a frog, which is 60 houses. You understand? So Ata Tanina Bal'a, and came a Nachash, right? And it swallowed the tzfardea. It swallowed the how do you call this? The frog. Okay, so it is known that there are the big, huge, snakes that they do come and they swallow things which could be double and triple its size. But okay. Ata Pushkan Seu Balala Tanina came on a krav, right? And this is the female of the krav, right? Of the scorpion, and and swallowed the snake. The Sali Kiati Bilana. And then it went on the tree, just like the birds. Okay? Fine. So Tachas they come and afish cheled ilan. Let's see how strong is the tree then. Right? Because imagine if you have a tzfardea, that the tzfardea was as big as 60 houses, and you have the snake swallowed the tzfardea, the frog, right? And then you have the scorpion swallowed the snake that swallowed the frog that was as big as this. So, and then it goes on the tree. So how strong is this tree? You understand? So Hamara Papa, the branch of the tree, exactly. Obviously the branches. So Amar Papa Bar Shmuel, if I wasn't there, I wouldn't have believed it. If I wasn't there, I wouldn't have believed it. And does that mean that if I didn't see it, I wouldn't have believed it? Fine. That was the 5th story. Again, in the footnote, the Biur Chamishi, right? You have the 5th explanation. 6th one. The Amar Rachana says about Rachana, Zimna Chada. It once happened. I was going on a boat, Chazina Nau Kavra, and I saw a fish. Right? Basically, there was a small little tiny sheretz that went into its nostril, umit, right? And it died, meaning it killed the fish. So imagine a small little tiny sheretz goes in boom, it killed the fish. And what happened was it came and it went and I saw it going to the sea. Okay, and it destroyed 60 cities. Wow, look how powerful it is. And there were 60 cities. And then there were 60 cities, right, that they went and they were able, and it didn't get, nothing happened. They exalted it, and nothing happened to it. Right? And what happened was it filled up 300 barrels of oil, right? Just from one eye of this fish. When we came back after 12 months, we still saw that they were taking from its bones, right? They were making sukkot out of its bones. Sukkot. Metalata, sukkah. Hatz is a sukkah. Yeah. So so they went and they were able to build it. Okay, fine. That was the sixth story. Seventh story. Says once I went, right? He comes and he says, right? That basically there was a lot of hole on the fish. The kadach agma, right? And what happened is that all of a sudden you had asabim on it. So Savrin and Bishop, basically it was a fish, and they thought it was a land. They thought it was an island. You're listening? Yeah, they thought it was an island. This is very famous, by the way. The Goyim also have this story. The Goyim, you don't know how many times they come and Kilu, you're on an island, and all of a sudden it's moving. And what is it? It's a fish. You understand? Kilu, it's a huge whale. Right? Yeah, the whale. So they went up, they started cooking on it. So the second that it started getting hot, yeah, the fish starts getting hot. What happened? Itapech. If it wasn't for the fact that we had our boat right beside, Tamira, we would have sunk. We would have gone under. That's it. We would have drowned. Yeah, fine. Eighth story. Yeah, eighth story. Again, every single one. Yeah, but look, every single one, you have the beauty, you have the explanation. Okay, eighth story. That once happened. That we were going on a boat. And the sfina was going between one snapid and another snapid, meaning the boat was traveling between the fins of a fish, meaning the fish was so big that the boat was in between. Right? That means that when you imagine how big this fish is, yeah. So he comes and he says, Tlata Yome Tlata Levata, for 3 days and 3 nights, Iu Biskifa. By the dad was going against Svahana Mishipula, and we were going with the Ruach. Meaning, Mama, she was just traveling for 3 days, 3 nights, and we were going with the Ruach. Now you're going to tell me, okay, fine. That means we're not going quick. Right? Just like it takes to heat up water, right? It was a shetach of 60 parsaot. And not only that, but rather when you're going to shoot an arrow, right, the boat was quicker than the arrow. And that dog was a small dog called the gildana. That has 2 snapirim, 2 fins. Okay? Fine. Ninth story. Right? Once we were going on a boat, we saw tzipor, which was in the water. The water was going until its karsulaim, until its knees, right? Until what are they called? The ankles. Thank you. Right? Now what happened was its head was in the rakia. What's going on? And so we said, okay, so there's no water. If it's only until the ankles, so we said, listen, there's no water. So we wanted to go into the water. Don't go down here. Because it was a garzan that fell in the water. Before 7 years. And it never got up. And it's not because there's so much water, but rather because the water is so strong and powerful. Meaning there's a lot of currents. How do you call them? The rip currents. Right? Amravashi, how ziz sadaihu. Right? That's the ziz sadai that we're talking about. The sipor. That basically that the head goes to the rakia and the legs tichtiv the ziz sadai madi. Okay, so mamash, a powerful bird. Right? 10th story. Amar Rabba bar Chana. Once I was going in the midbar. So I saw these goats, these geese. That's what it is, the plural, right? Of the dog, yeah, of the goose. Right, that they had their notzot came off, right? Their feathers came off because they were so fat. Right, and what happened is, right, they have like nachalot of shemen. Amina Lutz, I told them, idlam begavaychu chelkal almadate to give a chelak olam haba. One of them, they picked up his knaf, like as an answer, like he picked up one of his wings. And one of them, he picked up his yerech, right, his thigh. He told me, right, the Bnei Yisrael are going to give justice on this. Oh, it's not good. Again, we're talking about mamash, gimilut chasadim, 3 different things. Don't again, we're gonna have to go through this very, very well. Fine, then it has a siman, obviously. Okay. 11th story. Once I was going in the midbar, in the desert, and I went to a socher Ishmaeli. So I went to this Arab merchant. Said he was taking afar, he was taking the dirt, and he was spreading it out. And he said, this is the path to this way. And this is the path to this place. So we told him, how far are we from dirt? And he says, give me the afar. We gave it to him. Malani told him, Tamne parsa, 8 parsaot. Taninan viavinanle. So then again, we gave him a little bit of a fat. Amalani told us, I changed it to try to see if Bemet, right? He always knew exactly where it was. Meaning he was already able to see from the afar how far it was, what distance it is from water. Okay, Amali, so he says, Tach velach. I'm going to show you the ones that they died in the desert during the 40 years. I went and I saw them, and their blood, it looked like they were shikurim from yain. That means basically they had like their faces were still shining, right? Even though they died, we're talking about more than 1,500 years beforehand, but it still looked as if mamash it looked like they were alive, and therefore they were. And then he's going to continue with Ganot Pakid, and they were going on their backs, towards upwards, and then we'll continue Bezat Hashem tomorrow.